before before we can start. Just to confirm, Chair, that the live stream is now commenced.
Okay, thank you, John.
Just going to let somebody in who I don't recognise the name, but will I think it could be Mr. Ford. I'll just double check. Hello, have we Mr. Ford joining us?
You have Mrs. Ford with you.
Right.
I can see that he's waiting to be admitted. We've had to both go into work today, so we are joining separately.
That's okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Ford. I'll just let Mr. Ford in now and we'll check we've got a connection. Mr. Ford, have you managed to join us?
Yeah, I can see you. Can you see me?
I can't. Yeah, there we are. Brilliant. Okay.
Hello.
I'll just mute everybody's microphones now, and I'll hand over to the chair. Snowy, you'll need to unmute.
Good thinking. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee of Ryedale District Council on the 12th of November 2020 to hear an application for the grant of a premises licence by Molten International Market Limited. I am Councillor John Windress and I've been elected as chairman for today. The other members of the Licensing Subcommittee are, if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
I'll go first. Michael Cleary. I'm a district councillor, member for Derwent Ward and chairman of District Council.
And I'm Councillor Mike Potter. My ward is Peckering. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any apologies?
No apologies received.
Thank you. And are there any declarations of interest from the members? No, we have no declarations of interest. Also present are, if the legal and licensing officers could introduce themselves, please.
Yes, I'm Jonathan Davies, solicitor, legal advisor to the subcommittee this afternoon.
Yep, and I'm Mark Heaton, senior licensing officer at Ryedale District Council.
Thank you. I will now refer to the legal officer concerning the exclusion of the public.
These types of hearings are normally heard in public. I've consulted the papers and see nothing that would make me believe the matter should be heard in private. Does anyone have any objections to the matter being heard in public? No one's said anything. We're aware it's being streamed on YouTube if people want to access. So it is a public hearing, even though it is everyone's in the confines of their homes or offices.
Okay, thank you. The Licensing Subcommittee hearing procedure, which sets out how hearings will be conducted, has been distributed to all parties with the notice of hearing. And as all parties will have the opportunity to make, as all parties will have had the opportunity to make detailed written submissions, it is expected that any opening statement by the parties will be brief. The hearing will take the form of a discussion led by the Licensing Subcommittee, and cross-examination shall not be permitted unless the Subcommittee considers the cross-examination is required for it to consider the submission. Additional information produced at the hearing without... Excuse me, that's my phone going, sorry. It'll just have to ring. Additional information produced at the hearing without prior disclosure between the parties may not be heard if, following objections to its submission by any other party, the subcommittee so determine. I would now ask the licensing officer to outline the report.
Mark, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Apologies for that. Yeah. An application for a new premises licence has been received from Molten International Market Limited in respect of 95 Commercial Street, Norton, Molten, YO17 9HY. It's also attached at Annex A to the report. The premises are described as a convenience retail outlet offering a full range of convenience outlet products, including wine, beer, and spirits. The application seeks to include the following licensable activities: the supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises only between the hours of 8 AM to midnight each day, and the premises to be open to the public between the hours of 8 AM and midnight each day. The applicant has volunteered a number of conditions as part of their application. These are covering areas such as the keeping of a refusal and incident book, notices requesting customers to respect the needs of nearby residents when leaving, litter policy, staff training, and a Challenge 25 age verification policy. The Licensing Authority has received 2 representations from members of the public, which are attached at Appendix B and are in line with the following licensing objectives. These are the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. The representations are summarised as follows: that there are already other licensed premises selling alcohol within the vicinity of the premises, that the operation of the premises may disturb residents living in nearby properties, that customers may choose to consume alcohol purchased from the premises on nearby benches, resulting in antisocial behaviour, that customers may choose to relieve themselves in nearby alleyways, and that customers may choose to hang around the premises, thereby causing an obstruction to others. Members should note that some of the grounds for the representations may not directly relate to the licensing objectives, but have been included in the interests of openness and transparency. Section 7 of the report then outlines some sections of the Ryedale District Council licensing policy and the national guidance that are relevant to this application. And then looking at options, the licensing subcommittee has the following options: to reject the application, to grant the licence as per the application, to grant the licence as per the application with additional conditions, to grant the licence but exclude a licensable activity, to grant the licence but exclude a licensable activity and include additional conditions. Under Section 17 of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998, the Council has a duty to exercise its functions with due regard to the likely effect of the exercise of those functions on and the need to do all that it can to prevent crime and disorder in its area. Members must also exercise their decision-making powers in accordance with the provisions of the Human Rights Act 1998 and the principles of natural justice. Members are invited now to determine this application following consideration of the evidence presented to them. And a procedure for this hearing is available on the Council's website. And that concludes the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Have any members any questions they would like to put to the licensing officer? We'll go to Councillor Potter, please, first.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Right, with regard to the volunteered conditions about CCTV, and in particular item G for golf, I was wondering, is there any permanent digital audit trail of who will have accessed recordings at any time? That's on the basis that it says about digital recordings securely stored to prevent unauthorised access. But if there is any sort of access that needs to be accessed, it would be sensible to know exactly who had actually been accessing it at any time, so there was a clear indication of who was in there. Is that possible to be added as part of those conditions?
I think that's probably something that the applicant could assist with. In terms of, I see where you're coming from, but I think it's probably something for them to they could help you with an answer.
Right, thank you. I'm wondering about the hours that it's requested to be open, or wanting license to be open, 0800 till midnight. And is this time of midnight fully justified, and is that consistent with other licensed premises in the vicinity?
Again, I think some of these, perhaps that's a question for further on once the applicant has perhaps done their opening statement, perhaps. But I have, out of interest, do have the hours for surrounding premises as well. Although it's obviously important that this application is determined on its own merits. So I do have those hours for you, if you would like them now, or whether you would like them at some later point.
Oh, some later point's fine if we're discussing that. Right, moving on to section 2 of the volunteered conditions, number 4, and it says the premises licence holder will adopt a litter policy in the immediate vicinity and provide suitable receptacles fit for purpose. I don't know if this is the suitable time to be saying this, but I would certainly like something added to that to say that it would be emptied regularly and if full as well, so that it's not just a bin there, but it's clearly needs to be emptied at regular intervals. And then number 6, it does say, section 6, it says about buying alcohol on behalf of persons under 18 and persons who are drunk and attempting to buy alcohol. And I was wondering if there was any mileage in adding into that, or under the influence of drugs. I'm afraid I'm not a great expert in this area, but it's not just drink that causes problems around this time. Let's see what else I've got.
I think it's, at the moment, the question's probably just to focus if there's any queries regarding the contents of the report. Obviously, if you're looking to amend conditions, perhaps, or something else, would be for further once the applicant maybe has done their opening statements. I don't know, Chair.
Yeah,
or
that's fine.
So if that's okay.
Yeah, I'll leave it for now. I've got a couple of questions regarding the statements from members of the public. Do you want me to cover those now?
No, I think at this stage, what we're doing is the questions are just going to Mr. Heaton. So anything that's you've got questions on in his report, you can ask him now. But yeah, we'll then hear in due course from the applicant, and clearly you can direct questions to the applicant about the appropriateness of granting a licence, and also any conditions that you are considering if you end up considering granting the licence. Then we will obviously hear from the people who made representations in due course, so Judith Ford and Richard Ford, and there's also the non-attender. You will clearly be able to ask questions of Judith and Richard Ford at that stage. So I think if we hold off the questions at this stage, and unless anyone's got any questions directly to Mark Heaton, then move forward from Mark Heaton's staging proceedings.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Councillor Cleary, do you have any questions for Mark?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. No, Councillor Potter's questions covered off and more what I was going to ask, and I think that we will come to discuss those in due course. Thank you.
Thank you, and the same applies to me there. As the applicant, interested party, or responsible Authority any questions to put to the licensing officer concerning the report, please?
Thank you. Nothing.
Okay. So can we ask the applicant to make the opening statement and call witnesses, if any, please?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'll be as brief as possible, and if it's okay with the committee, I'll go through my submissions in 3 stages. Number 1, I'll tell you a little bit about the applicant and the application. 2, I'll explain how the application promotes the licensing objectives. And number 3, I will touch upon the representations we've received. So, number 1, the application. Experienced operators, family-run operation, aiming to sell, as we've already heard, a range of products, including food, drink, household items. We've applied for 8 till midnight for sale of alcohol and opening hours. These hours, and I'll touch upon this later after Councillor Potter's comments earlier, these hours are far from abnormal or irregular for such a store. Shopping habits are changing. Shoppers are requiring longer opening hours, all sorts of different reasons. We've had the pandemic, social distancing. People are choosing or wanting the choice to be able to go from the large stores to the small stores, the convenience stores, pop and pick up something at the end of their shift, pick up something at the end of work, not be restricted by narrow hours. We're seeing this more and more. Flexibility is becoming very, very important for stores such as this. I note that Ryedale Licensing Authority does not have any framework hours in relation to off sales. If the committee is minded to grant the application in full, there is no guarantee that my clients would use all of the hours 7 days a week, 51 days of the year, 51 weeks of the year. Section 4.4 of Ryedale's owner licensing policy states that the license holder should minimise the impact of their activities on the surrounding area, and section 21.1 of the same policy states that the operating schedule is key in demonstrating compliance with the licensing objectives through their volunteered conditions. I won't go into too much detail with the conditions, we've touched upon them already. We've already spoken, it's a very comprehensive operating schedule. You'll see that CCTV, for example, is being covered. I don't think there'll be a problem with Councillor Potter's request about having access and who has access. Obviously, the access will be very restricted, and if necessary, a log can be made as to who's accessed the CCTV. I don't think there'll be a problem there. It's a very extensive CCTV condition. We have incidents refusal book, location of alcohol, just as an aside, the location of the alcohol is within eyesight of the till. Challenge 25 in operation to prevent underage sale of alcohol. Signs to advise customers to leave quietly, noise, nuisance, etc. I note the point about the litter bins. Again, I don't think that would be a big issue if you were to insist on an additional part of that condition, just to say that the litter bins will be emptied regularly. So, onto the representations received. Just like to say we appreciate the neighbours' concerns. My client would like to have a good relationship with the neighbours. There's no benefit in falling out. They'd like to get on going forward. I would, however, just like to make it clear to Mr. Ford and the committee, my client can open the store tomorrow. There's nothing to stop the shop being open. All we are concerned about today is whether the grant of a premises licence for the sale of alcohol will have an adverse effect on the licensing objectives. So they can open a shop already, there can be customers coming to that shop, cars, parking, people congregating on benches, that can all happen. This today is about the licensing acts and the licensing objectives with regard to the sale of alcohol. I'd like you to consider the representations against the backdrop of the fact that there are no representations whatsoever from any of the responsible authorities here. In fact, there were no negotiated conditions required by the police. They were happy with the comprehensive conditions volunteered with the application. If it's okay with you, I'll briefly comment on both representations together because they're quite similar, immediate neighbours. There are numerous references in the letters to other off licences in the immediate and slightly wider areas. as the committee already knows, the need is not relevant under the Licensing Act. So a number of the objectors' points regarding other stores in the area already, unfortunately, they can be dismissed. The fact there are other off licenses in the area is not relevant to this application. I would like to highlight to the committee, and this comes back to Mr. Potter's point earlier, that the one or two of the nearby, I think one of the two nearest off licenses has hours for licensable activities of 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. The nearby Tesco Express has very recently varied their licensable hours to 6 a.m. to midnight, just this summer. No objections. The Asda, the Morrisons in nearby Molten, they have midnight hours as well, amongst others. So the letters, they're mentioned, there's regularly benches are mentioned. Yeah, I believe there are quite a few benches. There's benches at the bus stop, benches in the gardens, agreed. Benches were installed and they're to be used. We can't influence that, I'm afraid. As far as the area is concerned, Commercial Street, I know it quite well. Quite a busy main street thoroughfare, shops, busy pubs, quite a bit of traffic noise, businesses, takeaways, businesses, commercial premises, and of course residences. As a whole, I would respectfully submit that it was quite a busy mixed commercial residential area. Section 2.21 of the Section 182 guidance states, and this is very relevant here, beyond the immediate area of the premises, these are matters for the personal responsibility of individuals under the law. In fact, Section 4.6 of your own policy confirms that licensing law is not the primary mechanism for the general control of nuisance, noise, or antisocial behaviour, particularly once individuals have left the vicinity of the licensed premises. Section 10.15 of the Home Office guidance states that shops should be free to provide sales of alcohol for consumption off the premises at any time when the retail outlet is open, unless there are good reasons for restricting those hours based on the licensing objectives. I've been as brief as I can. Those are my submissions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do members have any questions for the applicant at this stage? Okay, I'll take it by that we have a no for that one. I can't see Michael. Do you have any questions, Michael?
I haven't, thanks. No.
Thank you. Does Mr. and Mrs. Ford have any questions for the applicant at this stage? Again.
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
No, sorry, I don't at this point either.
All right, thank you very much. Would the interested parties like to make any statements at this stage? That's Mr. and Mrs. Ford. Do you want to make a statement?
No, I don't. No, sorry.
Okay, thank you. The applicant is asked whether the application is to be amended. I'd take it from that we aren't amending the application at this stage.
So is that a question to me, sir?
I believe so, yeah. Just asking whether the applicant is to be amended in any way to what's been.
Well, that's up to the committee. I believe the application is sound as it is, but as I said, if you were so minded to tweak one of the conditions, then that's the committee's call.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, could I just ask a question, please?
Yeah, Councillor Potter.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. With regard to the letter from Mr. Webster, where it says Section 6, outside the shop are two alleyways which lead to houses and which drunks could be relieving themselves after consumption of the bought alcohol. It's just a question, would the entrances to those alleyways actually be covered by the CCTV?
If you like, I will answer this one. I'm not aware that the CCTV goes into external alleyways around the side and back of the property.
Yeah, it's more just wanting to know if it covers a sufficient area around the shop that there could actually be evidence if there were problems in that area. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick point of information. I think, having had some experience of CCTV and security industry, you were talking about completely different rules if CCTV covers public areas. I think that this is not the. I don't think I've seen in the application that the applicant seeks to monitor public areas, and if so, it would be governed by completely different legislation.
Yes, that is correct. If there are concerns about CCTV outside premises, that is a matter for potentially for councils, etc. If there's antisocial behaviour associated with people leaving, for example, pubs, or if there's issues of, robberies or thefts in a city, then that's up to councils to put CCTV up in the streets if necessary. It would not be the responsibility of an applicant to look at putting CCTV in areas that don't cover their premises. That would not be something that's covered by that. The other agencies have a responsibility, i.e. the police, if there are people on the streets causing issues, and also CCTV, if there's problems with thefts, drunkenness, or various things that necessitate CCTV, that is not something that the premises itself can control.
I think, if I might just come back quickly, I think rather than the responsibility of the applicant is not actually permitted to operate CCTV covering public areas without a separate licence and training. Certainly that was the position when I was involved with the. I don't think it's actually the intention of the applicant to do so anyway. So it's a moot point.
Yeah. Another quick question, Chair. I'm not too sure who wants to answer this one, but what evidence is there of current antisocial behaviour by people using the benches in the vicinity, if any?
I don't know, is this an opportunity with Mr. or Mrs. Ford? Would you like to sort of maybe outline your representations at all, or do you like to just maybe highlight your concerns at this stage?
Our concern was that while there is not a high degree of antisocial behaviour at the moment, alcohol could lead to a degree of antisocial behaviour.
I think it's also fair to say that this garden is relatively new, and for the last few months we've been in lockdown, and therefore the garden hasn't been significantly used. However, as my husband says, if alcohol sales do take place up until midnight, it is a place where younger people or younger adults are likely to congregate.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions at all?
No. Again, some of this, again, if there are problems on the streets, it's the degree to which any licensee can be responsible, etc. For example, I think there's a public spaces protection order in Molten, which means that people are not allowed to consume alcohol within an area in the town centre. So I'm not sure if that is covered by this area. Do you know that, Mr. Heaton? Or not?
No, I'm not aware. No.
But as I've said, the police do have, as I've said, some powers in relation to this type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were certainly some conditions along those lines around the Pickering town centre area, so I'd be very surprised if there weren't similar conditions around Molten and Norton.
Thank you. We now need to, if we can ask the parties now to sum up. Can we have the interested parties if they would like to sum up?
So, Mr. and Mrs. Ford, it's just an opportunity if there's anything else you'd like to add, really. Sort of any final comments that you may have or anything you'd like the members to consider.
Okay. I think most of our concerns have already been clearly put forward by yourself. The end of the road, that whilst it is a mixed road of commercial and residential, the majority of the houses at this end of the road, leading onto Scarborough Road, which is much more residential, and our main concern, we're not trying to stop this shop at all. It's the lateness of the alcohol licence rather than an alcohol licence of itself, which is our main concern.
Okay, thank you. Mark, do you want to sum up?
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't really got anything else further to say other than obviously the content of the report outlines everything from my point of view, so I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'll just ask the applicant, do you want to sum up at all?
Yes, please, Chair. I'll be very brief. Section 9.43 of the Section 182 guidance states that the authority's determination should be evidence-based, something that had already been highlighted in the well-known High Court case of Thwaites. So I look here, we think, what is the evidence? Well, no objections or concerns whatsoever from the experts and primary sources of guidance on crime and disorder, and nuisance and noise, being the police and environmental health. In fact, out of all the residential and commercial properties in the area, there were only 2 relevant objections, and these are from the 2 immediate properties next door. Surely, if there was a problem in this area, the police would have objected. This fact should carry considerable weight when determining this application. As we have already seen, the robust and comprehensive conditions offered in our application demonstrate how serious my client takes the issues of crime and disorder, protection of children, noise, nuisance, etc. A number of stores and off licenses in the Norton and Molten area have alcohol hours of 6 to midnight, and we have not heard any evidence today to warrant any sort of restriction on these hours for my client's premises. On the other side, we have heard supposition, speculation and guesswork as to what could or may happen if this shop was to open and sell alcohol. As the committee knows, an application cannot be refused on the basis of what might happen. I will finish by reiterating to the committee and to the objectors that under the Licensing Act 2003, a local resident or anybody, in fact, can apply to have the premises license reviewed if at any time after the license has been granted, matters arise that concern the failure to promote the licensing objectives. So I conclude by thanking the committee for its time. In light of what we've heard today, I respectfully invite the committee to grant the application in full. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The subcommittee will now retire to consider the application. So with the exception of the legal advisor, all parties are now asked to disconnect from the meeting. Those who wish to return for the decision may rejoin the meeting and wait in the lobby until the decision is ready to be announced. Thank you.
I would just add, if anybody doesn't want to return, they will receive a full copy of the decision as well by email or post. So you will receive a copy of the decision.
Could I just ask what's the likely timescale of this to come back to wait in the lobby?
Councillors, that it's a matter for you how long you need to take the decision. Might take, say, 15 minutes and then or 20 minutes, and then time to write up the reasons. I would suggest that you ask everyone to come back at 3:15 if they wish to do so, but of course there is no guarantee that you will be ready at 3:15. It's a matter for you how long you need, but I'd say 3:15 at the earliest to return, but there's no guarantee that it will return at 3:15. It could be later. It's a matter for you how long you need.
Thank you. It was a case of, is it today or is it at some other point? Really, we have no idea how long the process takes, that's all.
It's definitely today.
So thank you.
Definitely today, but I'd say 3:15 at the earliest, councillors, but unless you wish to set your own timescales, that's a matter for you.
No, I'm quite happy to go for the 3:15, and we should hopefully have the decision by then.
I think that seems really very realistic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Committee, could I just confirm you'd like us to leave the meeting and then rejoin the meeting at 3:15, yes?
If that's possible, please.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm just struggling to admit the applicant and Mr. Ford, so just bear with me a second.
Thank you very much.
The live stream is now back up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Are we awaiting Mrs. Ford as well?
No, she's not coming back. She's got something else to do.
All right. Well, Richard, Mr. Ford, I believe an email's been sent about the conditions, that you hadn't had access to the conditions that were being proposed.
That's right.
By the applicant. What I've asked that happens is that there's an officer report which contains those conditions. I've asked that that report is forwarded to you by email.
Thank you.
Hopefully you have a copy of that by email. Has it been sent, John?
I've just sent it now across to Mr. Ford's email.
Just sent it now. What I would suggest is that you have an opportunity to read through it, Mr. Ford.
Yeah.
And that we return. Actually, I'll push it back now to 3:40.
Right.
If you need longer for any reason, you can request it, but it has the conditions in, etc. So if you have a look through it, come back at 3:40.
I won't be able to make it back at 3:40, I'm afraid. I've got another meeting, a work meeting.
Right.
I was just concerned that I didn't have it and just wondered if there was a reason for it. I'm sure they were all outlined previously anyway, and I don't think I don't think I'll have anything to add to it against as evidence.
Well, that's fine. I'll read through them with you because you were looking at the conditions. So I'll read through them now. You might have them on the screen, and then you can.
It's just come through now.
Right. Well, I'll read through them now to you.
Yes, please.
The conditions that are being proposed is the application seeks to include the following licensable activities: supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises only between the hours of 8 AM and 0000 hours each day, open to the public between 8 and 0000 hours each day. The other conditions they proposed are CCTV, a digital closed-circuit television system, will be installed and maintained in good working order and be correctly timed and date-stamped.
Yeah.
The system will incorporate sufficient built-in hardware capacity to suit the number of cameras installed, whilst complying with data protection legislation. CCTV will be capable of providing pictures of evidential quality, particularly facial recognition. Cameras will encompass all areas inside and outside the premises. There will be a minimum of 31 days recording. The system will record at all times when licensable activities are occurring. The system will incorporate a means of transferring images from hard drive to a format that can be played back on any desktop computer. The digital recorder will be securely stored to prevent unauthorized access, tampering, or deletion of images. A member of staff will be available who is trained in the use of equipment, and upon receipt of a request for footage from a governing body, such as police or any other responsible authority, be able to produce the footage within a reasonable time, e.g. 24 hours routine or immediately if urgently required for investigation of a serious crime. There's also the premises will keep, and this is another question area, so not CCTV. Condition 2, the premises will keep and maintain an incident book, refusal book. This will be used to record all incidents of crime and disorder, antisocial behaviour and refusals that occur at the premises. The incident/refusal book will be solely used for this purpose, will be kept at the premises and will be made available for inspection by the police or any other responsible authority. There's also a condition proposed that notices shall be displayed in a prominent position, asking for customers to respect the needs of local residents when leaving the premises. And there's also a condition: the premises licence holder will adopt a litter policy in the immediate vicinity and provide suitable receptacles fit for purpose. The next condition proposed: a Challenge 25 policy will be implemented at the premises with a minimum of 3 notices and posters to be in prominent positions inside the premises, informing customers that a Challenge 25 policy is in operation. There's also the final condition: all staff will be trained with regard to the sale of alcohol. The training will include the laws relating to the sale of alcohol to underage persons, persons buying alcohol on behalf of persons under 18, and persons who are drunk and attempting to buy alcohol. Training records will be kept at the premises and will be made available for inspection when requested by the police or other responsible authority. The training records will be signed and dated by the DPS, that's the designated premises supervisor, and the trainee detailing what training has been provided. So that is basically what the applicant is proposing are conditions. Do you want a few minutes to consider it, or?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine, thank you.
Because if for any reasons you do have additional representations or one more time, I'm sure the councillors would allow you to look at the report that's just been emailed to you. But you say that's fine.
That's fine. No, thank you. You've covered all the bullet points. Yeah.
But based on what's been said, do you have any anything else you'd like to say to either to the councillors or the applicant in relation to those?
No, I don't. I covered everything else in previously, so I've nothing else to add. As I said, our main concern was the length of time of licensing. That was our main issue. So I've nothing further to add. Thank you.
I'm very grateful for that. So councillors, it's a matter for you now. I would suggest returning now at 3:45, if that is acceptable to you.
That's absolutely fine, Jonathan. Thank you.
And whoever wants to return at 3:45 can. No one's compelled to, and we hopefully will be ready by then, councillors. Okay.
Thank you very much for your time and clarifying that this afternoon. Appreciated. Thank you.
So at this stage, if the live stream can be stopped, John, I'll be grateful.
Yeah, I'll stop the live stream now, and if those Councillor Windrus, the live stream's now back on.
Thank you. Okay, are we all here that's going to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, lovely. Okay, the decision of the subcommittee. In coming to its decision, the subcommittee has considered the application on its own merit and has also had due regard to the national guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003 and Ryedale District Council's licensing policy. The subcommittee has had due regard to the 4 licensing objectives, namely the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. After hearing the issues today, it is the licensing objectives of prevention of crime and disorder and prevention of public nuisance that are relevant, and consideration has been given to these today. It is the decision of the subcommittee today that the licence is granted. The licence be granted for the following activities: open to members of the public from 0800 hours to 0000, and the sale of alcohol for the consumption off the premises only, and the hours granted are again 0800 to 0000. The licence will be subject to the following conditions: 1. CCTV, a digital closed-circuit television system will be installed and maintained in good working order and be correctly timed and date-stamped. B. The system will incorporate sufficient built-in hard drive capacity to suit the number of cameras installed whilst complying with data protection legislation. C. CCTV will be capable of providing pictures of evidential quality, particularly facial recognition. D. Cameras will encompass all areas inside and outside the premises. There will be a minimum of 31 days recording. The system will record at all times when licensing activities are occurring. The system will incorporate a means of transferring images from hard drive to a format that can be played back on any desktop computer. The digital recorder will be securely stored to prevent unauthorised access, tampering and deletion of images. A member of staff will be available who is trained in the use of the equipment, and upon receipt of a request for footage from a governing body such as police or any other responsible authority, be able to produce the footage within a reasonable time, e.g. 24 hours routine or immediately if urgently required for investigation of serious crime. 2. The premises will keep and maintain an incident book / refusal book. This will be used at all to record all incidents of crime and disorder, antisocial behaviour and refusals that occur at the premises. The incident refusal book will be solely used for this purpose, will be kept at the premises and will be made available for inspection by the police or any other responsible authority. 3. Notices shall be displayed in a prominent position asking for customers to respect the needs of local residents when leaving the premises. 4. The premise licence holder will adopt a litter policy in the immediate vicinity and provide suitable receptacles fit for purpose. The litter receptacles must be emptied on a regular basis and whenever full. Number 5, a challenge 25 policy will be implemented at the premises with a minimum of 3 posters notices in prominent positions inside the premises informing customers that a challenge 25 policy is in operation. Number 6, all staff will be trained with regard to the sale of alcohol. The training will include the laws relating to the sale of alcohol to underage persons, persons buying alcohol on behalf of persons under 18, i.e. proxy sales, and persons who are drunk or under influence of drugs and attempted to buy alcohol. Training records will be kept at the premises and will be made available for inspection when requested by police or any other responsible authority. The training records will be signed and dated by the DPS and the trainee detailing what training has been provided. The subcommittee believe that the licence should be granted, as we are told that the applicant is an experienced operator. It is of key importance that both the police and the Environmental Health Department have not raised objections. In relation to other licensable premises in the area, this is not relevant consideration. There is speculation about urination in alleyways and also that alcohol will lead to disturbances with no firm evidence. Likewise, there has not been any real evidence cited of antisocial behaviour around the area. Again, it is mentioned that noise nuisance will be possible. We have, however, been informed that other off licences in Molten operate until midnight and there is no real evidence of problems. We are satisfied that the applicant has proposed suitable operating hours and conditions, including incident logbooks and staff training, i.e. not selling alcohol to people who are drunk. Conditions are appropriate to protect the local community from issues, and we expect them to be enforced rigidly. Thank you. The decision will be notified to all relevant parties. There is a right to appeal to the Magistrates' Court, which should be exercised in writing within 21 days of the date of deemed service of the written version of this decision. The fee may be payable to the Magistrates' Court upon submitting an appeal. Thank you.
Councillor, I'd imagine the live stream is being turned off now, is it?
I'll arrange for that now.